Mm-hmm.
Hey, Longview. We're live. It's going to work. I'm Mayor Andy Mack. I want to thank you for joining me tonight as we hold our first virtual town hall meeting on Facebook Live and on City View Municipal Television. I want to try a virtual format because I know everybody has busy schedules and not everybody can make our council meetings. They can't always go to an event where we're having a town hall meeting. So let's give it a try and see if it's something that we like doing. And if it is, we may continue. And if it's not, we'll say we did it and we'll move on to the next venture. But I know you still care about Longview. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think is going well. I want to hear what you think we're excited about. I want to hear your ideas about what we can do as a community. Not just government, but as a community to continue to make Longview a better place to live. So let's talk about Longview tonight. We certainly will talk about particular problems or areas of concern. I would really like to focus on solutions and ideas. Remember this, if we happen to drop this live feed at any point in time, just bear with us for a second. We'll get right back on because this is a new thing for us and we're doing the best we can to make this happen. So let's go over a few ground rules. You can participate in the meeting in two ways. You can send me an email at mayor@longviewtexas.gov, or you can comment on the Facebook Live video. As the questions come in tonight, I'm going to try to answer as many of them as I can. Now understand, I'm not the expert on any of these questions, but I'm going to try to give you an answer that will make sense, give you the direction that you need, and if I can't answer the question, we'll get it answered for you and get the response back to you. But this just can be we're just talking as a city tonight, you and me, a community together. I've got some people to help me facilitate this tonight. I have Julie Woods, I have Sean Hara that are helping me tonight to facilitate this. They'll be feeding the questions to me and keep me on track. And so the only ground rule is this. I will ask everyone to be as neighborly and as civil as possible during the discussion. So let's keep the focus on the conversation and the focus on Longview. So let's get started. First thing I want to do tonight is I want to thank Candy Collins. Candy is an adjunct administrator, instructor at Kilgore College, and she's teaching Texas government in the second session. And for her last 3 classes, she's encouraged her students to be involved in city and county government, and she's asked them to join the town hall meeting tonight and ask some questions. So Candy, I appreciate you bringing your students into this, giving them insight on what's going on, and hopefully they'll tune in and ask some questions, and we'll get some things answered for them as we go along. So I appreciate that input. I have some questions that were already coming in, so let's get started here. So the first question, whatever happened to Get Fit Longview? Is there a chance this will be brought back? Let me know. I'd love to be a part of this. This is from Margot McCauley. Well, Margot, here's the answer to that question. The city had a coordinated effort in the Get Fit Longview program in participation with hospitals and other organizations back in 2009, 2010. This program was in conjunction with a statewide effort through the governor's office called Texas Roundup. Longview actually won the Fittest City Award both years. Am I correct, Sean?
That's right.
So, but then the state discontinued the contest, and so it no longer takes place. Can we resurrect it? Well, of course we can. It's not in our plan right now, but we can always do things like that if the city is involved and wants to, and you want to be involved. Let us know. We'll get involved with that. So, great question. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I have another question from Margot. Does the city have plans to create a center turn lane on 4th Street like McCann and Judson Road? Because she talks about traffic congestion at Walmart, Sam's, and Lowe's, and near Copeland's and all that. Okay, Margot, obviously a turn lane would be very helpful on 4th Street. But due to the large costs for expanding a street and the right-of-way acquisition that is involved with that, we do not have currently projected that into our budget. So engineers have looked at several options on how to try to make that work, and we may find ways to make that work. But as for now, we don't have plans to put a turn lane in 4th Street currently. So I realize the traffic is a little bit tough on that road, but we're doing the best we can to do with what we have. Unfortunately, sometimes when you build roads in Longview, you don't know where the growth is actually going to be. And sometimes we outgrow our street system. And when we do that, we have to find ways to change that. We're working on it, but it's not planned in the budget right now. So thanks for the question, though. Okay, Cody Fife, full-time college student at Kilgore College. Cody, this is a really good question. And you're very specific, too. Is it more important for the mayor to be an honest, respectable community figurehead or a skillful, hardworking administrator? And he says, I have to pick one. Well, Cody, let me answer that this way. being the mayor, I am not an administrator. That's the job of the city manager and the directors and the department chairs that work in the city. So I think it's probably more important that I'm an honest, respectable community figurehead. I don't like the word figurehead. I'd like to think of myself as a community servant, but I think it's very important that I'm an honest, respectable community servant that is an ambassador for our community, that can help bring business to the community and help facilitate the projects that we want to get done through our city council. So I think that's probably a more important role for me than I'm not an administrator in this role. But that's a great question. Thanks for forcing me to choose an answer, because I would have said both if you wouldn't have forced me to choose an answer. So good question, Cody. Let's see, I got questions coming in here's a question. Jonathan Ray Neal Bain would like to know when there will be a more affordable housing in town and what we can do to clean up the blight on Highway 80. Jonathan, that's a really good question. And I'm glad you asked that question, because we do have some more affordable housing projected to come to town right now. If you noticed, or if you read or saw that the projections, the petroleum building grant was approved, and so we have a company out of Houston that's going to come in and potentially revamp the petroleum building into some affordable housing, which is going to be great for multiple areas. It's going to be great for downtown. It's going to bring business to downtown. It will bring families to downtown where people will come and live. And so what will that bring? That will bring economic development to downtown, which means we'll need restaurants, we'll need retail to take care of those citizens that are going to be living in those apartment units. So there is affordable housing plan. They also had another project approved as well that will bring more affordable housing. I can't remember how many units that was. The one in the petroleum building is going to be between 49 and 55 units. And not all of that is affordable housing. Some of that percentage is going to be market rate housing as well. But the majority will be affordable housing. And the other one is going to be, I can't remember how big that one is, but it's another project they got approved for. So that's two that I know of right off the bat. And if this petroleum building works, then there's plans potentially to do another building downtown in the same concept. So this could spur on a large number of downtown apartment units where people can live and revitalize our downtown. It fits in with our small area plan. It brings business to downtown, and it'll bring economy to downtown. And what it does, it spurs on everything that we're looking for in our downtown area. So I say kudos on that. It's a great opportunity for us to take the petroleum building, which has been an eyesore for years, and make it into something that's really beneficial and aesthetically pleasing for our community. So nice question. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Next, Buddy Voss asked, how are we expanding on local entertainment and family-friendly venues for family activities? Well, Bobby, that's another good question. Let me explain that to you. First off, you realize that the city doesn't get to pick and choose what comes to the city. We are at the mercy of developers who want to come and spend their money. Our job is to make it easier for them to come here and able to spend their money here and have less problems and have a great experience and want to come back and do it again. So people say this all the time, and I'm straying from your questions a little bit, but I'm going to give you a little background. People say all the time, why do we have so many restaurants? We have restaurants because private entrepreneurs want to come and build a restaurant in Longview. And we're not going to tell them no because people say we have too many restaurants. Well, that just depends on who you ask. But free enterprise allows people to come into our community and build what they want to build, as long as it meets our specs, our requirements, and fits into our plan of our development. So what do we have planned as a city? We don't have anything planned that we fund. We want to expand our park systems. We can do that. We want to expand Lear Park. That's a big part of what we want to try to do, because Lear Park has been a great place for us to not only take care of our citizens, but to also bring tourists in and gain money in our economy through outside individuals. So we can do that. But as far as us opening things, we don't have that ability as a city. We're still trying, and I'm still trying. We'd love to have a water park here. I'd love to have someone come in and build a water park in Longview. And we've had people interested in that. They've come and looked. No one's taken the bait yet, but we still have hopes that we'll have a water park. And it should be a great entertainment venue for Longview. So we have to rely on outside investors to do that. But when they do come looking, we want to be the most attractive city we can be, the most friendly city we can be, and the most helpful city we can be from a development standpoint. That's what keeps people coming back and doing things in our community. So that's our goal. Great question. Thank you for asking. we have a pretty good group of people watching right now. We have almost 80 people watching right now, so that's a great start, gang. Keep watching. Tell your friends, get online, and send me some more questions. Next question. Brandina Edney, can we please have more sidewalks? And then your question goes into where you live, and you need sidewalks to push your baby strollers and all that thing. And hey, Brandina, I hear you. To me, sidewalks are one of the most important parts of beautifying a city and making it more user-friendly, improving quality of life in the community. And my goal is to provide a sidewalk with every new street that we build. Unfortunately, we don't have the money to put sidewalks everywhere right now because it's not in our budget. But the Longview MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, has just begun working on a walk and bike pedestrian master plan to help identify the best ways to add sidewalks and bike lanes for the future. In September, they'll begin asking the public for their input through public meetings and special events, surveys, and online maps, which will be good to know where the citizens want sidewalks. Because, I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have a sidewalk along every street. It's just we don't live in that perfect world, and we don't have that unlimited fund to be able to do that. I wish we did. But we're trying our very best to incorporate sidewalks and bike lanes. If you go on the new George Ritchie Road, that thing's amazing. It's got a beautiful bike lane, sidewalks. But that was from a bond package, and the street bond package we did in 2011 to try to add sidewalks. So we're going to continue to do that as we move forward. But we can't do it everywhere. We're trying our best to include that into every new street we build and try to make Longview better as we move forward. So, Brandina, thank you for your question. That's a very good question. Amy Aiken. Our city has many area teens, good teens who just want to get together with their friends and have fun. I have 3 of these teens in my home. My teens enjoy getting together with friends to play baseball, soccer, football. Yet there's nowhere in Longview they can go. They've been kicked off public city fields and school fields just for playing in sports, not vandalizing, being reckless, just playing. We want families in this area. So what you're asking is, how can we address this issue for giving teens a place to play? Well, here's the thing. The city does not control any of the school facilities. Those are up to the schools. If there are facilities that are available, which I know, I go to Longview High School 4 or 5 days a week and run on the track or do the bleachers, and I see people out there all the time able to use that field. Unless they have an event or something planned with their practice schedules, then the city is able to use those things because taxpayer money paid for those fields. I don't know the other Pine Tree and Spring Hill, but I do know that Longview allows that on their area. Now let's talk about city parks and areas in the city. We have parks that are available for anyone at any point in time during the day. We have times parks open and close. You have to adhere to those times. But as far as, like, let's say Lear Park, if you just want to go out there and play a pickup baseball game at Lear Park, it's probably not going to happen because there are leagues that play out there, and we have tournaments that are out there all the time, and people schedule time to be out there, and they pay to be out there. So we have to adhere to that. If you want to pay to be out there, you can do that anytime you want to. Is that correct, Sean? Or when there's available time?
Right, depending on the fields.
Depending on the fields, because there are certain fields that we don't allow over usage of because we use those to bring in big revenue. You know, Lear Park brings in over $12 million a year in the city revenues. So we can't overuse certain fields because the fields will no longer be usable for the tournaments. But when it's not being used, you can rent those fields and you can practice on them at certain times, correct?
Right. Some of the fields are by reservation only.
Correct.
And so they really limit that for league play and tournaments. But there's a lot of other areas. Just contact the Parks Department and they'll give you a list of where you can go and use fields.
Scott Karen is the Parks Director. He is very easy to get with and to talk to, and he's very helpful. He's so accommodating to the citizens. So, yeah, and to your point, we do need to reinvest in our existing parks and look for more additional facilities because parks are a huge part of a community, and that's a part of a quality of life. And we're trying to build the best quality of life we can in Longview, so parks play a major role in that. So, great question, Amy. I appreciate that very much. Now, hold on. Did I get another one here? Hold on just a second.
You've actually been asked another question online.
Yes.
By Mary Wood. She's asking, building on the affordable housing question, are there any plans for new housing developments in the North Longview area that are not north of $180,000 to $200,000?
That sounds like a real estate question to me. Julie, what do you think about that?
Who knows?
That I don't know. We're not aware of things that are going into the community until they bring plans to the city. So when someone brings us a plan or a site plan, then we start going through the zoning process and the process of getting them approval. So I don't know of anything at this point in time that I'm aware of. That doesn't mean that it's not happening. It just hasn't come across our desk yet. So there could be, but I'm not aware of that if there is. So I can't answer that question. But if there is something, we have you here. We will get back to you if there is something we know about. So that's a good question.
Another question has come in. This one's from Lauren, and another person also had a very similar question about if they'd like to know if the city has any plans on increasing police presence in the downtown area.
Here's the thing. It's been, I don't know how many years since our police force has had a full complement of officers, and we're to that point. We've been that way, within one or two for the last over a year now. And I think we're seeing the results of that, having a full police force, which has helped in our crime. It's helped in our communication with the citizens, our community policing. So we're trying to focus everywhere in our community on having a presence, not just one area. We want to have a presence in every aspect of our community, because the more presence we have, people recognize we're going to be there, the less likely people are to do things that are mischievous. Let's just put it like that. So yes, we want to have a downtown presence, a south side presence, a north side presence, an east side presence, west side presence. We want to be present everywhere. And the way we do that, we keep a full complement of officers because they're on patrol all the time. And when we do hear of things that are taking place in a pattern type effect, we try to adjust to that. A few weeks ago, we were informed that at the trail at Paul Borman, there was a few break-ins and stuff. So what do? We upped the police presence at Paul Borman. And what's happened? Those break-ins have now subsided. So that's a kind of a reactionary thing. When we hear something, we can react to it. But we want to be more proactive. The proactive side is we want to be present all over the community. And our patrols will allow us to do that if we stay with a full complement of officers. So the answer to your question is yes, we plan on having a very good presence in downtown Longview and everywhere else as well.
One more thing I might add to that is the police department added a crime map this year.
Yes.
And so, a lot of times people talk about crime in one particular area or another, and that's just one way you can go and see a history of, is it just one incident or there's several? And so you can go and track that for your area.
And that interactive map is really cool to look at. You can get it on our city website. But you can see what's really taking place all over the community at any one point in time, or get a history of it as well, like Sean said. So that helps us plan where our patrols are going to be, and it helps us better accommodate the citizens who are having issues at that point in time to eliminate those issues. And that's what we've seen happen. We see a problem, we address it, the problem goes away. Well, it may move someplace else, so we'll track it where it is, and we're going to keep doing that. And that's what that map is really all about. It's been a great tool for us to be able to see and look, and the citizens to be involved as well. So great question. Thank you for that question.
We just had somebody else ask if we are going to get a Top Golf.
Okay, if it had anything to do with me, yes. I love Top Golf. That's one of those things that, once again, someone has to bring that to Longview. Now, okay, let's be realistic, because I would love to have Cowboy Stadium here too, but that's not going to happen. Top Golf is a franchise, and it's a very expensive franchise, and we don't have the demographics in Longview to have a Top Golf per se. But we have the ability for someone to come in and do something very similar to Top Golf, which is what I'd love to see happen, because I think that would be a boom for the community. I think it would be utilized for birthday parties and for weekend fun and for get-togethers. I think it would be a real hit. So do we have plans for that? We would welcome anyone that wants to bring that to us. We would help them get that going any way the city could possibly help in getting that going. But as far as Top Golf themselves, I don't think we meet their criteria to do that because of our demographics. But I think it would be a huge hit. And I hope someone will take the advice and the hints that we're giving and say, hey, let's put that in an endeavor and try to do it. So, okay, let's see. I got another here on my phone. Hold on, time out. Terry Ross Smith. We are new to Longview. What's the best way to get involved in our local government? You're doing it right now, Terry Rose Smith. I'm sorry. You're doing it right now by watching this and seeing what's going on in government. We have meetings twice a month, the second and the fourth Tuesday of every month. The public is always welcome. We love to have the public here at our meetings. We love input. We love to hear what you have to say and what you're thinking, because that's why we're doing this tonight. We want to interact at whatever level it takes to have the communication with the citizens. If I have to do this once a month, I'll do it once a month. If you want to come to our meetings twice a month, come to our meetings. We need your input because that's how we learn. And so getting involved this way is great. If you want to be involved in a volunteer role, contact City of Longview on our website. We have positions available every year where people can serve on committees and do things that are very meaningful for our community and that make a big difference. So there's plenty of ways to do that. Contact our website, get involved with our city, come to the meetings, give us a call, send us an email. We'll put you to work in city government if you want to help in our community. So I appreciate your willingness to do that, and we would love to have you involved. So thank you very much.
This is
Terry Rose Smith.
This is a question from Jacob Frazier. He says, how do you plan on bringing more jobs to the city of Longview?
Great question, Jacob. And that's why we have what we call Longview Economic Development Corporation. LeadCo, their primary goal is to bring jobs, primary jobs to our community. And so their task is to go out and to recruit businesses that want to come here and bring their business. And so how do we do that? Well, you don't just throw out a big net and say, who wants to come to Longview? You have to make Longview attractive. And that goes back to some things we already mentioned. Having sidewalks, that makes Longview attractive. Having great parks, that makes Longview attractive. Having great schools, that makes Longview attractive. Having entertainment venues, if we had a Topgolf or a water park, those things make Longview attractive. So it's the job of the community to make us attractive. It's the job of LeadCo to market our community. We have a lot of assets in Longview that people look for. We have, as far as bringing a business here, we have all the water anyone can need. We have great land available. We have business parks with land available to set up your business. We have an airport that will service any plane in the world. It's a foreign trade zone. We have rail. We have everything that you could want from a business standpoint. We just have to make Longview more attractive as a community to make a business want to come here. So our job as a community is to be more attractive. LeadCo's job is to go out and find those jobs and bring them here. But if you understand, LeadCo in the last year has brought over 700 or 800 jobs to Longview in just the last year with a couple of businesses they brought here, and they've got things they're working on right now that are really could be very exciting for the future. So that's how we do it. LeadCo is our economic development arm that brings business to the city, and we try to make the city as attractive as we can from a government standpoint. So great question. Thank you very much. Man, they're coming in quick now. I can't even read this fast. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay. Gene Knight would like to see the Get Fit Lunchman come back. Hey, Gene, thank you. If we get it coming back, we'll get you and get you involved with it. So we'd like to see it come back too. You can never be. Once again, that makes Longview an attractive community. So good thought, Gene. Thank you very much.
Hey, Mayor, Rachel Clement Benton is asking, how do you report potholes in a neighborhood? I've looked on Longview's website but cannot find info. Isn't there an app that the city used to have for this?
It's called CitySend. CitySend app. Look up on your phone, CitySend app, and you can report that pothole. You know what? This is pretty cool. I tried it, and it worked. And the pothole was fixed the same day that I did the CitySend app. And they didn't know who it was. They didn't know who. They just said a pothole in this street, and they came and fixed it. And I've heard so many people say the same thing. They've sent things in on CitySend, and it's done immediately. They're very responsive, and it's an easy, quick way for you to communicate with city government without having to pick up a phone, talk to somebody on the phone, go to a department, because half the time we wouldn't know which department to go to or ask to get the thing done. So yes, CitySend app, it's a great tool. Keep it on your phone and just click it. It's awesome.
I think you can also report when street lights are out.
Anything.
What other things can you do?
Oh, you can report all kinds of things. I mean, large amounts of litter,
Yes.
high weeds.
Oh, if you need bulk trash pickup,
right,
I
if
think
there's
you can use it.
Yes.
Right, you can use it for sanitation. You can use it if there's a tree down in a street or something like that. For almost anything except emergencies. We don't want people that don't send something in that has to be done right away. Please, for goodness sake,
use 911 for an emergency, but for a CitySend app, it's great for things that need to be done that are not emergent.
Well, and the great thing about it, when I've used it, they give you updates on where they are in the process. So it's really nice to know someone got it and they're doing something about it.
Absolutely.
And Public Works really, like you said, on potholes in particular, they really try to get those done as quickly as possible. One time, I tell this story to everybody, on my way home for lunch, I reported one. On my way back from lunch, and I did not take like a 4-hour lunch. On my way back from lunch, they were fixing it. So
that's amazing.
It's really, really quick. On the website, you can find it. You can do it through the app or online. It's just longviewtexas.gov/citysend.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hey, this is a good question from Adriana Guadalupe Galvan. She says, what do you hope to accomplish for Longview this coming year?
I just got that question on my phone.
Oh,
Technology is
it's
awesome.
working.
It is awesome. Adriana, that's a great question. I appreciate you asking me that. Here's what I hope to accomplish in the coming year. As you know, Longview, East Texas is very oil and gas dependent. Our sales tax revenues have been significantly impacted by the declining price of oil and gas. We've been very fortunate that our retail and our hotel and our restaurant business has been very strong and helped our sales tax come back up. My goal would be to become a much more diverse community where we're not as dependent upon oil and gas. We'll always be dependent on oil and gas in East Texas because it's a major resource and we're thrilled to have it. And when it's good, it's great. When it's down, we suffer a little bit. So I would like to see us become more diverse so that we're not as dependent upon oil and gas, so that when it does take dips, which it's going to, it's like the stock market, we don't suffer as bad when that happens. So diversity in our economy is a huge thing, and I think we're really working on that through our comprehensive plan, what we're trying to do, through developing downtown and I-20, and through what LEEDCO's doing. I think those are things that are going to make our economy stronger, even in the times when the oil and gas revenues are poor. So great question. Thanks for that question.
Jonathan Douglas Ray Neil Bain says this: what exactly is happening over there with Hensley Park? Did somebody win the bid? And this is a question you get all the time.
We get questions about Hensley Park all the time, and valid questions, because this went through and Jonathan was his name?
Yes.
Jonathan, great question. We get this all the time because we had the election back last November that allowed us to transfer that park back to the Cargill family in case certain events happen. Well, those events are this. If the company that buys Hensley Park from the Cargill family builds us a new park to replace our ballpark now, bigger, better, newer, all the bells and whistles, then we'll turn that land over to this development group out of Houston. They're going to make a big, huge retail complex out of it. And those plans are coming along. It's just a really slow process because they've had some difficulties with the Corps of Engineers, getting some drainage issues determined. You know, sometimes the developer wants to do something one way and an engineer who makes decisions doesn't want to do it that way, so plans have to change. And that's kind of where they're going through right now, is just a back and forth with the Corps of Engineers. But I truly think if they can get their certificates done through the Corps of Engineers, they will start on the ball field, and once that happens and the ball field is completed and we take ownership of it because we accept it being bigger, better, all the things that we want, then Hensley Park will be torn down and turned into a retail development right there on 259, which would be, once again, a huge, huge thing for Longview. And I hope that happens. I hope this works out because the revenues it will bring in, the water we get to sell, the jobs it creates, it just makes us more of a retail hub for people coming in and shopping and coming into Longview and leaving. So yes, I hope it happens, and I think it will. It's just taking longer than we thought it would be. But know this, the city of Longview has no bearing on what's going on. We've done all we can do to promote this project. We've given them all the approvals that we can give. It's between the developer and the Corps of Engineers now. It's totally out of our hands. When they get that done, we'll be back in the game again, and we'll start work as quick as possible on the new park, and we'll help any way we can to get this facilitated. But it's not something that we are holding up the city of Longview. We've given them every avenue we can to help this thing go forward. So great question. We have over 100 people watching right now. That's really fantastic. I didn't think we'd have that many, so it's really nice to see you all engaged in this conversation. Okay, I have one here. Kitty Smith. Is there an ordinance against clear-cutting a lot and letting it sit there for years growing weeds like the one on Shelton Road? Well, Kitty, I don't know which lot you're talking about, but it would be hard to find it, I don't think. The answer to that is no. There's not an ordinance against it if it's a private lot, correct?
They have to if you're going to clear cut property, you have to have a development permit to do so. You have to have you can't just say I want to clear cut.
Yeah.
You have to have a reason for doing it.
Right.
So
If you have a development plan, then that's the prerogative of the landowner. Now, if you're going to do a planned development that the city of Longview is going to be involved with, that's not going to happen. We're not going to allow you to clear cut because we're going to require so many trees to be there. or replacement of those trees to be in your plan development. And that's why we like to do plan developments, because we have a lot of control over that. In the city of Longview, we can control what is taken out and what's put back in. So the answer to your question is yes and no. But if you have a development plan, yes, you can clear cut that property if you so desire.
So we have another question about what is going on with our homeless population and what are we doing to help the homeless in our community?
Excellent. If you've been watching at all, you know we just completed our homeless task force. We had about a 6-month process where we had over 30 people from the community get together and try to come up with some solutions for our homeless population, because our goal was to reduce our homeless population by getting them out of that situation into a better life, because everyone deserves a better chance and a better life. And so we came up with some really great options for the community to try to wrap their arms around. And in this discussion, we researched so many different cities and so many different opportunities that people are doing, and not everything fits every place. You know, not every round peg fits in a square hole. We were able to extrapolate things from different cities and take what worked for them that might work for Longview and put it into a plan. And I tell you, I have the highest regard for this task force, who spent a lot of time and effort doing this. And I'm very pleased that we've come up with about 10 things that we can present to the community and to the city council for something for us to chew on. And let me give the few things that, as government, because one of the deals was, what is the role of government in this whole homeless population? We define that. And some of the things that we can do as a city government are this. We want to develop a HOT team, a homeless outreach team, which consists of 2 police officers. That's their primary responsibility is to take care of our homeless individuals, to try to keep them out of jail. Jail is not a place for a homeless person. What are they going to do? Post bond? They don't. That's ridiculous to throw them in jail. We want to keep them out of jail and be productive and help them find the resources that they need and the place they need to go. And so we need to have those individuals, those officers out there every day building relationships and creating a more positive environment for a homeless population. We want to change our benches in our city so that they're more aesthetically pleasing, so that everyone can use them. They're not a place for people to sleep. And understand this, we don't want people sleeping on a bench, because it's very unsafe to do that. You know, you're out in the elements where mischief can happen at nighttime. It's a very unsafe option. We want our homeless individuals to go to a shelter, to seek the shelters that we have in place, because we have more beds available than we have homeless people. So there's no reason someone should have to sleep on a bench. We want to have those benches there for everyone to be able to enjoy, not to be abused in ways that they're not intended to be used as. So, but once again, that costs money. The homeless outreach team costs money. We want to change some of our ordinances to have what we call solicitation-free zones in Longview, or central business districts, that do not allow panhandling in certain areas of town, to keep our community more vibrant in a business standpoint, because certain businesses are very affected by people panhandling every day. And we've seen the research from every study we saw. The worst thing you can do to a homeless person is give them money, because that propagates homelessness and it keeps them from seeking a better solution. And so, and they're taking money away from people that really need it. So the worst thing we can do is provide money for them. We have other opportunities to provide things for them with bags that have things in them that they can use, non-perishable foods, toiletries, things like that, but not money. If you want to give money, give it to the individuals that run these organizations that know how to best use that money to help our homeless population, because that is just not the way to do it. We had one other option that the city government could do. Let's see, central business districts.
The service fairs?
No, central business districts.
The work program?
The work program, that was it. Thank you, Julie. We want to put people to work that want to go to work, because they want to have a sense of value, a sense of accomplishment. And so we're going to try to set up a work program through the House of Disciples with Tim Weissman, and bless them for being so wonderful in their mentorship and service to our community. But we want to put you to work if you want to work. If you hold up a sign that says, we'll work for food, we're going to give you that work. We're going to actually pay you to do it. So this work program will be a really great avenue for homeless individuals who want to get out of this situation into a better situation. So yes, we're doing a lot of things for this homeless, from the homeless task force to help our community. And okay, let me just I'm going to go off from your question. I'm going to bring something in. How are we going to pay for all this? Because we don't have that money in our budget. So here's how we're going to do it, or here's what we're going to try to do anyway. We're going to have what we call the Go Giver Gala set up in our community in January the 6th at 7 p.m. at Mont Cobb. And it's going to be an event where we're going to honor some of the go-givers in our community that have given resources and time to help our community be a better community. We had a book club called the Go Giver, and through that book club we developed a fund called the Go Giver Fund, where people have donated a lot of money for specific projects in the community that have helped our community. So we're going to honor some of these people, and in doing so, we're going to have a really nice event where we're going to have entertainment, we're going to have food, we're going to have live auctions. A lot of things are going to be great for the community. And here's the thing. All the proceeds from that event are going to go towards our homeless task force initiatives to try to fund these events that we need to take place. So I'm going to ask the community to step out and step up. You know, we all say it all the time. Let's help the homeless. Well, let's help them. Put your money where your mouth is. I want you to buy a ticket, get involved, be a sponsor, be a part of this event. You know, there's a lot of fundraisers in town that are wonderful, wonderful fundraisers that have great meaning with great organizations. But this is one that's going to be for Longview, in Longview. All this money will stay in our community and help our community be a better community. So I'm going to ask you to get involved. There'll be more information about this as it comes. It's Go Giver Gala, Saturday, January the 6th, 7 p.m., Mont Cobb. I hope you'll be there and get involved. So great question. That's what we're doing for the homeless. So I appreciate that very much.
Totally different direction.
Okay.
This is a question from Darren Trammell. He says, in my business, I hear from developers that tell me each day that the city of Longview is very hard to work with. City inspectors in other towns like Tyler don't necessarily go just by the code book, but they use common sense on how to address a problem. Developers are chosen not to do business in Longview and going elsewhere. How can we address this problem?
Hey, Darren, thanks for the question, buddy. Glad you're involved. Here's the thing. We're going to what we call the Unified Development Code to try to make Longview the most streamlined development process possible. And okay, I'm not going to talk specifically about the codes, but there are codes we have to follow. There are some that you cannot deviate from due to fire hazards, health and safety hazards. So we're going to follow the codes. We're going to make it easier to follow those codes and make it more user-friendly we're adding 2 new employees into the development services to try to make this more streamlined. We're going to make it where inspections are done quicker, where you don't have to wait all day long. We're going to try to get it where inspectors will let you know when they're going to be there, so you don't have to stay there all day. You're going to have like a 30-minute window. You show up, we're going to be there, get you done, in and out. We're going to try to get the development service facility itself to be as streamlined as possible so you can come in and come out as quickly as you can, because our goal in our city should be roll out the red carpet, because the developers are the ones that are making things happen and making our town grow. That's a new tax base, new tax dollars, revenues, jobs, all those things. So our goal should be make this as easy as possible with as helpful and friendly an attitude as we can possibly make it. And that's what we're trying to do. And I'll tell you, since I've been the mayor, I think we've seen a lot of improvement in that department, because I get compliments all the time from people that have said, smoothest thing I've ever gone through, greatest experience I've had in building. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear more positives and less negatives. And so that's going to be our goal as we move forward, is to be a positive development service group, because once again, that's where the growth in the community comes from. So yes, Darren, I agree. I've heard that as well. And we've actually gone to Tyler. We've gone over there and looked at what they do. We're going to take the best of what they do, add it to the best of what we do, and have the best system possible. So we're going to try to make it as easy as possible for developers, because that's the future. So thanks for the question, buddy. Well, I have one here. Hold on. I've been putting this off. Hold on. Reshawn Parker. Well, will you continue doing virtual town meetings if it proves worthy of more interaction with the community? Reshawn, thank you. Absolutely, I will. I will do anything it takes to communicate with this community. We have a huge Facebook presence. We answer questions all day, every day on Facebook. I appreciate your input, whether it be positive or negative. I get it. I know there's complaints. We try to address those complaints. I will do that any way we can. I want to be as available to the community as I can possibly be, because you all need to understand, You know my age. This is not my generation. I am so technically challenged, it's unbelievable. If I didn't have these people sitting here with me tonight, this would never happen. So yes, I want to continue doing this if we have good response. And we're having more questions than I can answer. This is a fantastic response. So I appreciate the people involved, and I hope it'll catch on, because if it does, we will continue to do this. Whatever I can do to communicate with you, Longview, I will do it. Even when I'm uncomfortable, I will do what I can to make it comfortable for all of us. So yes, I will, Rayshawn. Thank you very much for the question. Next one.
Megan Tyler asks, are there any plans on annexing North 259 area near Peters?
Megan, nice of you to join us tonight. Megan, no, there are not any plans at this point in time, because there are some barriers there that we are going to struggle with, basically being Tryon Water. And they have their own entity out there, and there's nothing wrong with the entity. It's just, it's a barrier for us to try to annex further north than we already are because of that Tryon Water issue. And so there are no plans to annex at this point in time, up to where Peters and north of that. Thanks for the question, Megan.
This is a related question. It's from Beth Hawthorne. She says, we seem to put a lot of money into improving the downtown area in North Longview, but nothing seems to be going on in South Longview. If a visitor exits I-20 in Longview, at any exit, it's pretty ugly. What plans do we have to improve that area? So just that general idea of everything's going north.
Great question, and let me tell you what we got going on. We just finished our I-20 study, the downtown small area plan study, which gives us guidelines as to what we think would be the best fit for that area. And it's like anything else. If we could tell a developer, put your business down there, then we would do that, but we can't. We don't have the ability to do that. Developers have to be willing to put their money there because they want to try to turn a profit. So we need to make it as easy and as accessible and as profitable as we can to get people to try to put money in South Longview. People put it in North Longview because it works. We need to make it work in South Longview. We do that by beautifying our entrances off of I-20, by getting things out there on I-20 to try to make things more attractive and have it moving from I-20 north, which just takes us up South Longview. That's what we need to be doing. And now that you mentioned that, let's just talk about one of the things that has been thrown out there, the amphitheater idea. It's an idea that has potential to go in South Longview on I-20, that if it were to take place would be a huge economic impact for South Longview. And it would bring in growth and development and economy to that area. Will it happen? I don't know. That's up to private developers and investors to come up with the money, and if it does, I think Longview would greatly benefit from something like that. I know South Longview would. And so I think that's one of those ideas that could be it could be an unbelievable stimulus for that area if we can make it happen. But that is not the city that can make that happen. That's going to have to be private money, private developers, and then we will be glad to make it work however we can. But if it would work, that would be an amazing thing to help happen in South Longview. So yes, we're trying our best to encourage people to develop and grow and spend their money in South Longview. So thanks for the question. Okay, it's 7:45. We have a ton of questions still coming. So right now we're doing good. So Longview, thank you. Keep up the questions. I love this. This is great. Next question. Oh, I've got one here. Hold on. I'm sorry. Lakita Vaughn, do you have plans to add museums that represent the diversity in Longview? Okay, Lakita, that's a good question. Museums typically are run by nonprofit organizations that do that on their own. The city doesn't necessarily have a museum. We have a library, and that's kind of all we can do as a government. What I would like to see is maybe the museums that we have incorporate the diversity that we have, and because that grows our interest. Now, the Historical Museum downtown, I know, is very diverse. It gives a really nice chronology of Longview from way back when to now, which is really neat to see. But if you have suggestions on things that you think need to be included, I know that museum board would relish your thoughts and love to hear what you have to say and incorporate that in what they're already doing, because the more interest we get in things like that, the more people get involved, the more people will come and see and watch and do and enjoy. So great question, but I say contact the museum board and let them know what your interests are, and let's see what we can get going. Great question, thank you.
Here's a good question from Ian Thompson. He says, a student of Laterno University here. Thank you for setting up this virtual town hall meeting, particularly while we are scattered all over the world for summer break. What is your vision for the role of Laterno University in the city of Longview? And what are your thoughts on events hosted at Laterno University that are open to / intended for the city of Longview?
Okay, Laterno is a gem in our community. It is one of those bright spots that we need to embrace and encourage and support, do everything we can to make it all that it is. And Laterno serves a huge function here. Like you said, they bring students in from all over the world. It's more known outside of Longview than it is in Longview because of the diversity of people that are coming in from all over. And its educational opportunities are unmatched. Laterno has so many opportunities for our community, and it's fantastic. What is City of Longview doing? We're trying everything we can to grow and develop South Longview to enhance Laterno. But once again, that takes private money. It's not city money that does that. Our job is to keep the streets good, provide services. It's developers' job to develop businesses in that area. We can help by encouraging and supporting any way that we can. Now, as far as events that are at Laterno that are meant to downtown, we support them wholeheartedly. I think the Belcher Center is one of the most amazing facilities we have in the community. It's a icon for this area. It's gorgeous. It hosts so many events for the community that I think its place is very well seated in the community. And I want to see it continue to grow and mature and succeed, because without Laterno, we would really have we would have an area there that we couldn't replace. So Laterno is irreplaceable. We got to do what we can to keep them viable and become more viable, because we love you guys from out of town coming to see in our little part of Texas and enjoying what we have to offer. So thanks for your comments, and we want to support Laterno any way we can.
Well, and I think, didn't you mention not long ago that you had gone to Laterno and met with some students?
Oh, absolutely. I was asked to go and speak to some students one night, and I thought there'd maybe 10 or 15 students there, and I'll tell you, I was overwhelmed. The place was full. Of course, they were serving pizza, free food. That brings anybody in. But I had so much fun interacting with those students. I would do it every week if I could. It was so amazing. Excuse me. The questions they asked, the intensity of their attention was it was phenomenal. I had so much fun, and I really appreciated the opportunity to do that. So I think Laterno students, as all our college students, they're the future of our community. They're the future of the country. So the importance of that is you can't even put a figure on it. It's just amazing. So yes, I love Laterno. Excuse me, I got to drink some. Okay, I got a question here. Oh, lost it. Hold on. When will downtown streets be finished? Answer: spring of 2018. So we're hoping the spring of 2018 that will conclude our 2011 road bond package. Am I correct, Sean?
Yes, Cotton Street and Center Street are the last two projects.
Right, and those should be through spring of 2018. So really, before this time next year, we should be through with all the downtown streets, which will be nice because it's hard. It's been difficult for those businesses. It's been difficult trying to get around. But once again, we have to be patient when patience in progress, and that's progress for our community. So spring of 2018, be ready to go. Hold on, let's see. Question on public safety in South Longview. Is it safe? Is Longview safe? Absolutely. I think Longview is a wonderful place to live. I think Longview is safe because I think our officers care. They are there. They put their heart and soul into this. They become embedded in the area of South Longview. Our power officers, our police officers, we've made every effort we can to up our game in South Longview, and I think we're seeing the results of that. And now, is there crime? Of course, there's crime in any city. And if you elect to do bad things, you're going to get in trouble. And if you elect to do things that you shouldn't be doing, you may have unfortunate consequences. But as far as safety goes in South Longview, I think we're a safe community. And I think we're working harder and harder every day to be a safe community, because our primary goal in city government is public safety, and our primary goal should be to protect the citizens, and I think we do that. So Yes. Is South Longview safe? Yes. Is North Longview safe? Yes. East and West? Yes. Do we have crime? Of course we do. But we're getting better and better at reacting to that crime and preventing those crimes from happening as we go forward. So thanks for the question, and I feel really good about South Longview and all of Longview. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Oh, gosh, I can't get to him quick enough. Okay. David Hartman asks, will you put more resources into enforcing traffic laws? David, I think, I don't know how to put more resources into it. We have a police force that's supposed to be out there every day enforcing traffic laws. I know we got rid of the red light cameras when I first became the mayor because I thought that was, it just wasn't good for Longview. Do I see people running red lights? Yeah, I do. Do I see people running stop signs? Yes, I do. People speeding? Yes, I do. But I think our officers are charged with protecting our community and becoming more and more aware of what's going on. And so putting more resources, no. Putting more of a focus on public safety? Absolutely. So we want to try our best to keep everybody safe and not have these instances where preventable things can be prevented and we fail to do it. So yes, we're going to do our very best to emphasize public safety and put as many officers as we can on those situations. You have to understand, there are only certain shifts that are available every day to do traffic. We have officers have to do other things. You know, we have things that have to be done when there's events. We have to be there. But to answer your question, I think public safety, as far as our traffic control, is extremely important. So we'll do the best we can every day we can. Thank you, sir, for the question.
Your friend Matthew Prosser's joined us.
Matthew, it's about time.
And he has a question. He says, with the considerable investment of Longview ISD's new massive Montessori campus near Highway 80/Eastman, how is the city looking at making this area more attractive to potential commercial/residential developers? Winky face.
Back at you, Matthew. Well, first off, Matthew, I'm so glad to see LISD step up and take an area of town that, especially the Highway 80 side, that was really a blighted area with that structure, and remove it and put something there as nice as the Montessori school. And it's going to be a huge benefit for our community. As far as city goes, we want to make it as easy as possible for someone to come in and develop all around that area, because I think you have opened up the door for us to do that. And so now that the door is open, we need to keep it open and do the best we can to accommodate those that want to come in and make a development in that area. We will do everything we can to accommodate their needs in that process. So yes, we will, Matthew. Thank you very much.
Chaz asks the question, when will George Ritchie Extension be completed?
Okay, Sean, when will it be completed?
All right.
See, I don't know all those answers.
That's right. If you look at your phone, you'll have the magic answer.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute, Chaz. Hold on. Okay. Section by the school open by the start of school, and the rest will open by the end of the year. I knew that question.
That's right.
Thanks, Sean.
That's right. Well, I have to thank Roland McPhee. Roland McPhee, thank you for watching. He provided the answer on that, saw that the question had come in. So
yes, so hopefully by the end of the year, all of George, and if you haven't driven on George Ritchie, you should just go drive on that street. It is amazing. What a structure, what a beautiful area that's going to hopefully develop and really bring in more revenues and more industry and more business and more growth in that area of Longview that really needs it for the tax base over the Spring Hill area. So great job, and hoping at the end of the year we'll be all finished up. Thank you, sir. What else we got? Hold on, let's see.
Freddie Nino was asking you to give a shout out for National Night Out, which is, there's the kickoff parties the first Tuesday in September, and then the event is actually in October.
I'll tell you what, our National Night Out has grown more and more every year. I think it's amazing how well it's done, and I hope it continues to grow, because once again, that's our safety issue. That's our community policing. That's how the residents get involved to make every area of Longview safe. When you have communities and neighborhoods getting together and banding together, there's strength in numbers. We've heard that our whole lives. There's strength in numbers. So when we band together as a community, as a neighborhood, it deters crime, and that's the whole point of this. So we've really grown over the last couple of years. I hope it'll grow again this year, and I think that strengthens what we're trying to do as a community. Okay, I got one here. Richard Pearson. Can the city have input with SWEPCO for more substations in the North Longview area. Richard, now I'm off the cuff on this one. I don't think the city gets to tell SWEPCO what to do. I think that's their own determination. We can certainly suggest to them things that we might see, but I think they have their own regulatory board that makes those decisions on their own. We don't get to determine that. And I understand what you're saying, and hopefully they'll see those needs. And I think with these recent power failures, which, by the way, SWEPCO stepped up and did a phenomenal job. I'm going to be the first one to toot their horn. I think they'll see areas that they can improve on. I think they're a good enough company and a smart enough company to realize if they can make improvements, they will, because in the long run, it saves them time and money. So I think that'll happen from their standpoint, but it won't come from the city of Longview.
There's several questions on here that are really specific. And one thing that we'll do is after the meeting, just like we do at regular town meetings, is we'll make sure all of these questions get to the appropriate staff. For instance, there's a question on here from Paula Hardwick asking about a drainage issue at her property.
Yes.
And so like normal, we'll make sure that this gets passed along to her council member, but also get it to Public Works. And she says she's communicated with some people directly, but we'll follow up on that.
And that's a good point, Sean. Not every question, we're 5 till 8 now. We're about to wrap this up. And I want to thank you all, first off, for participating. But any question we didn't answer, we will get you answered, and we will get you a response, because it's important that if you took the time to ask the question, we're going to take the time to respond. I have another question here. Tell me about your meeting with Governor Abbott. Okay, I love that question. It was a great meeting. I got to go up to Austin last week and had a private meeting with the governor. He grew up in Longview, for those of you that don't know. He lived here till he was in 7th or 8th grade. His mother and my mother were really good friends, so I grew up with Greg, and we had a very nice discussion. He was 2 years older than me, and he used to throw me in the creek on Hoyt Drive when I was a kid, and I hope he hears me say that, because I was a little scrawny kid. He was a really fast, big old guy, and so he threw me in the creek, so I think he feels like he owes me now, so I won't tell that to everybody, but I already told it, so there. But we talked about some really important things I think that are beneficial to Longview. We talked about a grant that we're applying for our trail system. It's about a $3 million grant that will help us complete our trail system, which is so important for Longview to give us 10 miles of continuous trails in our community, which will be economically important. It'll be a quality of life important. It's just a great thing all the way around. I also talked to him about some grants we're applying for an education project that we have going on with TSTC and the 4 high schools in Longview and Hallsville to give kids a chance to be able to provide themselves when they get out of high school. And that's as far as I can go right now on that, but it could be a really amazing opportunity for our high school students to really come out of high school with a chance at a really great life in Longview. We talked about the rail system we're trying to connect from Marshall to Meridian, Mississippi. We can get that rail connected from Marshall to Meridian, Mississippi. Longview will become a Y in the Amtrak rail system from Los Angeles to Longview, and then you split. You can go north to Chicago or east to New York City. So we would become a real defining point in that rail system if we can get that done. So we talked about that, and he was very interested in that concept. Then we talked about when TxDOT does a road project in our community, we're required to do a 10% match, or we're required to remove our utilities. And what I explained to the governor is this. If we do a $4 million, or TxDOT does a $4 million project, we're responsible for $400,000. If they did the same $4 million project in Dallas, they're responsible for $400,000. Well, $400,000 to Dallas is not the same as $400,000 to Longview. And so it's not equitable. We need to have a graded system where our budgets and their budgets are kind of the same in proportion, because we have to move a lot of oil and gas pipelines in Longview when we do right-of-way movement, and that's expensive. And Dallas doesn't have to do that kind of thing. And so what I explained to him is we need a way for us to be able to get these highway projects done without the burden of that 10% funding on our budget, because we don't have that money. And so I think he heard what I had to say. I think he's going to come up with a solution for us, and I look forward to that. And that's why I think it's really neat that we can go up there and visit with him. He is very easy to talk to. We get to talk about good old days, and he wanted to talk about that more than business, and I wanted to talk about business, so I had to say, we got to get down to business. So It was nice. I enjoyed the visit. I look forward to meeting him again. He's like him or dislike him, he's still the highest elected official in our state, and that everything goes through him. So it's nice that we have an avenue to be able to speak to him directly. So thanks for that question, and we got some more. I mean, we're wrapping it up.
It's 8 o'clock. You've got a lot more questions coming in.
lot more.
So it's just, I mean, you can go as long as you like, but
Here's what we're going to do. We're 8 o'clock. We're going to wrap it up. We've had a phenomenal turnout. We've had hundreds of people following us today on this cast, and I appreciate that. I think we had some great discussion tonight. I appreciate the feedback we receive. I'm encouraged, and I want you to continue to be involved. Be involved in your community. This is how you do it. You send us information. We will get it back to you however we can. Contact city staff anytime you have a question. We are here to serve you. We are elected and paid to serve our community. So we want to be the best public service we can be. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for Julie. Thanks for Sean. Thanks for all of you, all the staff that put this together. This was a phenomenal project. Crystal, everybody, Terry, Scott, y'all did a great job in putting this together. And I think it's going to be something we'll do again, because I think we're going to see that this response has been fantastic. So City of Longview, I want to sign off, but I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for indulging us. Thanks for being good community partners with our community. So thanks again. Have a good night. See you soon.